Throughout the season, it was clear that you were very attentive and able to spot those unspoken tensions in your team, but you were sometimes hesitant to share your observations out of fear of being labeled as too critical. So how are you able to overcome that to be in service of your team?
Yeah, like initially in the season, I did feel like there were certain times where I was being too critical, but I think once you realize that you're actually doing a huge disservice to your team, if you're not bringing up your critical issues and your improvements for the team dynamics and also for the case, then you're really not bringing your full self to your team and you're not bringing as much value as you possibly can.
We know that you have previously worked at IBM as a sales intern, and we're curious as to how you believe this internship prepared you for Mars, if it possibly limited you in any ways, or if you think that it allowed you to really dive deeper into the Mars experience.
Mars is a program that helps prepare students for the workplace, and I think going into Mars with kind of an idea of how a business works and what type of work you would do as an intern did prepare me for Mars in terms of trying to understand, okay, this is what a learning partner wants, and this is kind of how you're going to have to deliver on it, just like how I've had a lot of different managers I've had to work with in the past, and all of them have different expectations.
So you are a very energetic, enthusiastic, and humorous person. So how did you tap into that to motivate your team during tough times?
So I think those qualities were especially important in tough times. I think the night before a boardroom or the day of a boardroom or even during a boardroom when we're on our Facebook Messenger, that's times where people are feeling stress and they may or may not be vocalizing it. So that is really the opportunity to crack a joke or say, imagine in the boardroom, I just started doing this. And then so they start feeling de-stressed about the situation.
How do you believe that your experience as an elite seat delegate prepared you to become an apprentice?
I think that it taught me how to approach a case. Elite seat really pushed the importance of storytelling on me, which I think helped me in Mars understand the big picture of what our case was supposed to be and have a little bit more of a holistic view.
Being that you're a health sciences student, not the typical Mars applicant, what are you going to take away most from Mars as you hope to pursue med school?
Med programs are shifting towards more of a collaborative, learning environment and understanding that the greatest results do come when people collaborate and when people, contribute together. And I think bringing that mentality and that attitude to a very, individualistic, field can really, push myself to do better in that field, but also push that field forward.
So you were the project manager for your team after your first boardroom loss. So how were you able to sort of rally the team and bring back the motivation to work on the next case?
Talking to external partners, so Professor Malik, or just really just using that external network and knowing that it's there for me. It was really there for me. Like the Cheryl calls as well, those really helped me. So I really just took advantage of all the resources that I had and just really made sure my team personally was connected to me and kept asking the question what can I do to help?
We know that you've been on the McMaster varsity soccer team throughout university and have played high-level soccer for many years. So what unique perspectives do you think you brought to your team having had experience as a competitive athlete?
I think my competitive nature really shone through in this. The grit that I have has definitely come from sport and coming from when I was younger. My goal was to play at university, and then when I play at university, the goal is playing time, and then there's constantly new micro goals that I'm setting for myself.
So being that you're studying human behavior, you're your team's go-to person for consumer research. How were you able to push yourself outside your comfort zone, and what new skills did you learn to tackle other parts of a case?
Yeah, so I think starting off, I was almost handed consumer behavior because they're like, oh, we'll give it to the psych student. But honestly, like I wasn't never an expert in it, and I think I realized that like right away, because there's like so many different like different segments, and like I had to like learn about how does this apply to a specific industry. Um, so it was a lot of learning on that aspect as well. But then I also wanted to like expand my own growth and like learn beyond that. So I think for like each case, everyone kind of like had their strengths, and I would ask them those questions and then kind of try and expand my own. And by the end, like for our last case, I kind of went along the whole journey. Like I understood the consumer research, the competitive analysis, the strategy, and all the different tactics, and it just made it all like a lot more cohesive and like enhanced my own understanding as well.
You were your team's project manager for the Microsoft case. What challenges did you face trying to lead a team of diverse individuals in a virtual environment?
In a group of so many different thinking styles, it was definitely difficult to ensure that everybody had the information that they needed to feel comfortable, let's say, with a certain part of the solution or strategy, and to ensure that all of those parts flow together. Honestly, I think that it really was that vulnerability, being honest with each other in what we needed.
You are one of the few apprentices who had done the Jan Kelly sprint case back in March. So how do you feel like this prepared you to be an apprentice?
Oh man, I think that sprint case definitely solidified my decision to even apply for Mars. Like I was kind of considering, because I heard from a lot of alumni, like it was going to be a lot of work. It was going to really push whatever I thought to be true, I guess. But yeah, like how did it prepare me? I guess the first thing I realized was there's a lot of importance in leveraging the different skills of your teammates. So that was my first kind of introduction into working in a diverse group of people that have a diverse skill set. I brought a really different perspective, but I realized like that was being encouraged. Like they were asking me to bring that perspective, and it was valued. And that's when I was like, you know what, like there is.
You mentioned that you started off the season being very points and output oriented. And how were you able to actually change your mindset to focus on growth? And what was the impact on yourself and the team?
Well, I was essentially kind of forced to change my output and like how I viewed things based on the results of the first two cases. So like naturally you realize, okay, kind of have to go to the drawing board. But like when I did kind of revisit like new thinking, I didn't do it individually, which was really important. Like I had 5 other voices kind of pointing me in like, okay, what's a direction that we can all win?
So Jacob and Annie, I'm sure you guys remember I had an individual call with you guys about this, and I was talking about how I really want to be open and transparent with my team. So when I realized that I wasn't being outspoken enough, I thought the best way to let them know is to literally let them know, to have a conversation with them about this. And it was actually on a call with Cheryl, and I was talking to them about how if I don't speak up, it's not because I don't have anything to say, it's because I'm around all these leaders, all these individuals that are bringing so much to the table that at times I can be hesitant and not confident enough in my ideas. And it was very, very reassuring to hear from my team, like, we want to hear from you. It doesn't matter what we're bringing to the table. We're all apprentices. We are all in a situation that's completely new. So you need to speak up, because I'll be doing an injustice to my team by not letting them know how I feel.